Hello, this is Bobdad.
And this is Bob's son, and today we're giving you a review of the movie Two-Headed Shark Attack, which is brought to you by the same company who did what was it? Alien Origin. So, you know, maybe the expectations set low after watching Alien Origin, maybe not. But basically, it has Charlie O'Connell, right? Charlie.
Yes.
So Charlie O'Connell's probably the main, and you also have Carmen, Electra, and Brooke Hogan are in it. And let's see, there's a two-headed shark, and it's really hungry for some reason. And it didn't even make sense. The worst part of this movie is nothing makes sense. If they had thought about anything and planned it out, it might have been a little bit better. But like, for some reason, Charlie O'Connell's the captain of the boat, and he's the professor at school, and they're on some 6-month voyage of discovery. Who knows of what? They don't ever say. And so they get stuck on some animal. They don't get stuck on it. The animal gets stuck on them, like a shark or a whale. And
that was partially eaten.
Yeah, and they decided to like try to free it with a stick, but they couldn't stop. But obviously, that's impossible. And then it gets stuck in the propeller, and then somehow the boat gets damaged. Nothing really makes sense exactly how any of this happened, and so they got to fix it. And of course, the two-headed shark comes.
And if you want to believe, Carmen Electra is a doctor.
She's a doctor, and who spends a lot of time tanning.
Yeah, that's mostly her job, tanning. And they had there's another woman in there. I guess she's part of the crew. Carmen Electra and another woman are part of the crew of this boat. And at one point, they're steering the boat. You know, it has to be steered, and then they just walk away from it, talking, and the boat's just going by itself. And anytime they show when they snag that animal on the bow of the boat, well, when they show a side view, the boat's sitting still. But then they show a camera view away from the boat, and the boat's like flying.
Anytime they show the characters on the boat, it's not moving.
Yeah.
And then as soon as it goes away to where you can't actually see them, it's like 1,000 mph.
And the special effects on that shark was so hokey. One of the scenes, when the shark's mouth was open, you could look all the way through the shark.
Yeah, they didn't actually have the inside modeled, because it's all 3D model.
It was just a big hole.
In a couple scenes, they didn't actually have the inside, which I didn't understand, because in some they did, so it shouldn't be any harder to have it in the other scenes, unless they had started the model, put it in those scenes, and then they finished it later.
Yeah,
I don't know. But so, for some reason, they're like, well, we're taking on water, which you never see the boat sink even a millimeter. And so they're fixing it, and they're like, well, you take all the kids, because there's like, what, 20 kids, 15 kids? Well, they're college.
They're college students.
They're not kids.
And the girls are all in bikinis and pretty hot looking. That was the only plus.
Every single one was in a bikini. And so then they're like, oh, there's a little, it wasn't an island, it was something.
Atoll. It was an atoll.
It looked like an island, and like when you look at it, it looks like it's like maybe 100 feet wide.
Well, every scene it changed.
Yeah. Looks like it's maybe 100 feet wide or so. And then they get on it, and it's like a jungle. There's palm trees everywhere. There's paths everywhere. And they find these buildings, and it's like every time they go to a different spot, it's like they find something new. They're like, oh, let's go to the other side. Let's go to the other side.
There was a church. Thing
was not that big.
There was a church built on it.
Yeah. There's no people, though. And
at first it was just one atoll, and then later on in the movie they had a wide shot.
They're
and
like
it was
surrounded by it.
Yeah, there was like islands and stuff everywhere, but they didn't recognize anything but the thing they were on.
So, I guess basically this thing is like on top of coral, and the shark is so smart, it's breaking the coral and it's starting to sink, and then they kind of like do all these things. They gotta, somehow Charlie falls down and breaks his whole leg open, and like sometimes he's limping, sometimes he's not.
And it was a little scratch.
It was very tiny. And the shark like just basically like jumps out of the water and eats people, and then he'll like knock over the boat, and just all this crazy stuff that doesn't really even make any sense. And so eventually they decide they have to fight back, but from one scene to the next, just nothing ever makes any sense the way they did it. And so let's just wrap this up, give it a score. I think we're gonna give different scores. I didn't think this was the most terrible movie I've seen. Alien Origin was much worse. So I'm gonna give this one a 2. I wouldn't recommend seeing it, but it's not the worst. There are much worse movies, so I can't go down to the 1. I wouldn't buy this. It is on Netflix if you are interested in watching it.
Right. I'm going to give this movie a 1, only because one of the scenes, there was 2 girls in it topless kissing. That gives the 1. Otherwise, I was ready to walk out. After that scene, and when the shark started destroying the island, causing the island to sink, I said, that's it. I'm done.
I don't know. It was just so inconsistent. Sometimes I just wonder, like when they were editing it, wasn't somebody like, wait a second, they're speeding towards the boat with another boat in one scene, and they can't get there after 5 minutes. But then in the other scene, it's like 10 feet away. So how did... it's just so inconsistent.
Well,
somebody had to, at one point, say, why does nothing ever match up from scene to scene?
Well, there was one scene where they're trying to get away from the shark in a boat, okay? Well, this college guy who takes steroids like every hour, his watch goes off, he goes, I'm going to save myself, and he jumps out of the boat into the water while the shark's chasing him. Oddly enough, he swims all the way to shore.
Yeah.
So, you know, when a shark is after you, the way to get safety is jump out of the boat.
Well, and then
get in the water with the shark.
He swims ashore, and the other boat isn't even halfway there yet.
Yeah.
No, doesn't he swim to the other boat? And he's just holding on with a rope?
Yeah. Yeah, he swims to the other boat, and there's a rope dangling from the boat, and they go, come on, get in. And he's holding the rope, and they take off. And they're
like
dragging
bouncing
him,
through the wakes. And
they're dragging him like chum, you know, and you're, whoa,
the shark's after him, and he's like hanging in the water.
But he did have his backpack with all the steroids in it. He didn't leave that behind. That's the only thing he saved.
No, he was smart that way.
Okay, let's get out of this.
All right, anyways, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up, and we'll see you next time.